Hola chicos, ¿qué tal? Bienvenidos una vez más a mi canal. El día de hoy les traigo otro video. Esta es la tercera parte del video sobre los sustantivos en español. Vamos a comenzar. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to look at part 3 on our video series covering nouns and gender in Spanish. So let's get started with a quick review. So we're going to do a few true-false questions just to make sure that you've got it down. Okay, so true or false? La persona changes to el persono if the person is male. Alright, let's check. So this is false. Remember, there are certain words in Spanish that are not going to change to the masculine form, even if we're talking about a male. So la persona is one of them. Persona, person, it refers to a male or a female. La víctima is another one. And the word la gente, that's the other one. Okay, let's move on. True or false? Nouns that end in ma, pa, ta usually have a masculine article. Okay. So for the most part, this is a true statement. Now, remember, there are a lot of words in Spanish that are of Greek origin, and those are ma, pa, and ta ending nouns, and they will have a masculine article. Now, we do have exceptions to this. Not every single word that has ma, pa, ta as an ending is going to be masculine. La cama, la forma, la grapa. Remember, in our last video, we went over a slide that showed some of these exceptions, okay? But for the most part, this is a true statement. Okay, let's go on to our last question. Okay, nouns that end in the letter E always have a feminine article. True or false? Alright. For the most part, feminine articles are going to go along with words that end in an E. But as we have talked about and looked at in our previous videos, there are so many exceptions in Spanish. So this isn't the steadfast rule. It's a general rule, but do they always have a feminine article? No. There are lots of exceptions. There are a lot of words that are going to end in "e" and they're going to have a masculine article instead of the feminine article. And a lot of times that will be to avoid a sound repetition of the letter "e," and sometimes it's because the word just doesn't change. Okay, so let's get started. So our slide here is really interesting because we have words in Spanish that, depending on the article, it'll actually change meaning. Now the actual noun doesn't change, but only the article, whether it's masculine or feminine. So let's look at the first one. We actually covered this in a previous video, in our video over false cognates. So if you haven't checked that out, that's a good video to watch, and I'll link it down below. But let's look at the words I have here on the screen. So our first one is papa. El papa means the Pope. La papa means potato. So I put this one on top because it's a very common mistake. Now, it's not the end of the world, but we're working on perfecting our grammar, right? So in this one, you just want to make sure that you are able to distinguish the two words. El papa and la papa. Okay, next one, cura. So el cura means priest. Another word for cura you might see is sacerdote. And the word, if it's feminine, if cura is feminine, it means cure. Alright, so our next one, coma. El coma translates to a coma. La coma is the comma in English. Now, let's look at the next one, frente. El frente refers to the front. La frente is actually your forehead. En capital, el capital refers to capital in terms of money. La capital refers to the capital of a city. Okay, and our last one is giga. So you see here, we haven't done a video yet on the pronunciation of the letter G, but I want to point it out really quick. Giga. The U here is really just a placeholder, okay? So we're not going to pronounce it. There's an accent on the I, so we're going to make sure the stress is on that letter. Guía. Okay, so el guía is a male guide. La guía can be used to describe a female guide, and it's also the word for handbook, for a manual, for instructions, that sort of thing. La guía. All right. So for this slide, we've done a video going over the days of the week, but I want to point this out in our nouns video because this is sort of a weird thing that people have trouble understanding. And in our part 4 video about nouns, we're going to go over a bunch of rules about how to make nouns plural. But for right now, I just want to point out how this relates to the days of the week in Spanish. So here are not all the days of the week, only the days of the week that end in S. In the left-hand side, we have the singular version, Monday through Friday. And remember, in Spanish, the days of the week have a masculine article. And then on the right side, after the arrow, is the plural form of the days of the week. So el becomes los, we know that. But what's interesting is that these days of the week that end in S, now el lunes, that's Monday, and it goes down all the way to Friday, el viernes, they're not going to change in the plural form. So el lunes becomes los lunes. El martes becomes los martes. El miércoles becomes los miércoles. El jueves, now you see that the J-U-E is pronounced very close to a W sound. El jueves becomes los jueves, and el viernes becomes los viernes. Alright, so this is good to sort of get a grasp on very early on in your Spanish studies, just because you're much more likely to use the days of the week when you're talking, and especially early on you want to be able to communicate this correctly. So that's it for right now. We're going to move on to part 4 to talk about how to make nouns plural in Spanish, because we do have our basic rules, but we've also got a lot of exceptions and spelling changes, and it's interesting stuff. So join us for part 4. I'll link the video once it's uploaded in the description box below. And thanks for watching. I hope this has helped you out. If you're enjoying these videos, please make sure to give them a thumbs up. That really helps me out. And don't forget to subscribe so that you can be notified about more videos. Gracias por ver este video, espero que les haya gustado y nos vemos muy pronto. Hasta luego.